G'day, my friends, and welcome to Marty's Garden, another live show. Yes, I sort of didn't promise anything about these live shows coming up, but here they are, and well, we're here for a Saturday. I didn't choose to go surfing. I woke up and thought, I'm running behind on content, and I thought, I really need to get out to you guys. So here we are. How to grow a pest-free garden, my top 10 tips the right way. Now, I've got a little bit of a problem coming in here with the people on the chats. So if you can, someone just send something through or a thumbs up or something like that, let me know you can hear me quite well, and then I will, fire away. So, awesome to see you all here today. And I'm going to be sharing my knowledge about pest control over the years, doing it pretty much organically, and then sort of understanding what the tips and tricks are about it and how to put them into management and into place. So at the moment we've got 5 people watching. We just had a thumbs up, so I know that people are here and can hear me properly. So thank you for that, guys. And look, if anyone wants to give a small donation towards the super chat, it's just down the bottom of the chat there, and anything small, any size, is extremely appreciated. So thank you very much. And it's awesome to see you all here today. And this show is going to be really a really good one, because this is accumulated knowledge and years, and this is so valuable. Like, really, you just can't open a book and read this stuff. Well, maybe you could, but I've never processed this down into a book. So, it's unreal. And so anyway, look, we've got this few crew turned up, so we'll pull them across and say, g'day, cold climate, tropical fruits. Thanks, mate, for arriving. And I got your message of all the systems that you're growing with the hydroponics and stuff. Looks really cool. So, it'd be great to know. And if you're into sort of that cold climate or tropical fruit gardening, check out the channel there. Pretty good stuff. Arthur is here. G'day, Arthur. Wayne's Worm Farm. Good morning, Marty. Good morning. And I'm coming in loud and clear. Unreal to see you all here, guys. And again, thank you so much for turning up for this really super. This is going to be a really cool video. I really believe it's going to be an awesome one. If you're looking to step away from issues in the garden and you're all types of gardening here, this is really going to help you. Now, this is not short-term fixes, right? This is like really building something up over time that just gets better and better. Now, I was going to say like a fine wine, but that's not really how the process of it goes. When we're growing and we want to step away from using synthesized chemical products that we spray on our plants to kill the pests and things like that, which come from around the time of synthesized chemicals that come out from, like the little nodule ones and things like that, because there's so many problems involved with that. And then we had to also solve problems to kill off the pests. But we're talking big scale agriculture, right, in that regards. And then all of a sudden they go, we'll just sell it to the little guys too. We get so ripped off, you wouldn't believe, because everything in business is about solving problems. And if they see you've got a little problem with your tomatoes, we'll just sell them that and they can spray that on there and that'll be fine and that'll solve that problem. Maybe for a day or a year or a week. And then it'll just explode out twice as bad, because we haven't created this long-term project in place to keep our pests and everything down. Now, I did a little shorts video, wasn't a very popular one, but it showed an assassin bug hunting on my avocado tree. Now, they are an amazing bug, and it's all about, having the good bugs and the bad bugs in the garden, but we'll get into that in my top 10 tips. And then what also we'll do is we'll bring everyone in to say g'day and have a chat and let them know what they're doing. A bit of a Q&A towards the end about pest control. Now, a lot of the time, I've got to be honest, let me have a drink of water here. I had to steer away from this subject because everyone wants the quick fix now. And they really, honestly, don't listen. I know this because I've got a group called Small Space Veggie Gardening Australia, and everyone's after the quick fix because the online thing is everything about now. When I look at my videos, I look, how much they watch, 40%, 50%. People are skimming through, going to the section that they want. It's this I want it now sort of thing. And really, to be honest, with pest control, there is a little bit of it, we can do it now, but there's also, it's a long-term thing, especially if you're building a nice big veggie garden and fruit trees and things like that. So, just got a message. The reason why I haven't been making a lot of videos lately is because I've been doing, I've been bagging compost like no tomorrow for the locals here. That's why you heard the phone go ding. In an hour or so, I've got someone coming to pick up another 8 bags. I think I've done close to 100 bags this week. A nutrient-dense compost that I make here full of worm casts. And a good quality compost like that actually helps with pest control. It all starts with the nutrition of the plant. And we're going to definitely be looking at that as well. So glad to hear I'm coming in loud and clear. Thanks for letting me know that. And g'day, Barry. Cheers from all. It's going to be a warm 29 degrees. It's going to be warm today for sure. We're looking at something very similar today and tomorrow here on the mid-north coast of Australia. So I've moved some of my baby seedlings, the new ones, into just a morning sun spot so they don't get too hammered by a hot day. You get these freak hot days. They haven't got a big root system yet, and they can suffer a little bit. So some of the problems there is when a plant starts suffering and starts wilting and things like that, that's when the plant gets sick, and that's when you attract pests to your garden. So that's something else we're going to be looking at to do with plant health. Now, my first tip is really it's a really simple one, but a lot of people do this. And look, I have done it myself before in the past. And that is when we go to the nurseries, we look to the specials aisle because we're used to going shopping and going, oh, look, CC's are on special. Oh, the cheese ones that I like, we'll grab them. They're only $1 today. We'll grab 3 packs. We've got this mentality of chasing the sale. Well, sick plants attract pests and disease. This is just how it is. And unless you're a master gardener, you really understand how to bring a sick plant back to health, which you can do. As I say, I've done it many times myself, but it's something I don't recommend for beginners. It can create a lot of heartache, and you just don't get the good growth, and you can get a lot of problems. So I recommend just spending a few extra dollars and buying the good plant and avoiding the sick ones. They're getting rid of those for a reason, cheap, because they're just not performing and they're underperforming seedlings or plants. And right, so yeah, that's my first top tip for this one. Now we've got 10 to go through, and they're really good tips. They get better and better each one as we go through. So the second one is healthy seedlings get a great start. I've got my list here, guys, so if you wonder why I'm looking down, I like to sort of pre-plan my show so you get the right content and I don't rave on too much. So yeah, healthy seedlings get a great start. Now, if we have a nice healthy seedling, the plant will have less pest problems as it's growing because it gets good sap flow, it's photosynthesizing well, it's building a nice big root system, it's getting healthier and healthier. And when it's doing that, it's building up its immune system, and also it's building up the essential oils, which will work against certain types of pests and diseases and help protect the plant. And also it helps build the microfauna, I think they call it, which is on the leaves and things. And that's really important as well. So raising a really good seedling, starting off with a high quality seedling is really vital. That's why, again, I was saying stay away from the sick plants. You're sort of creating this onset of problem right from the beginning and attracting pests into the garden. So one way we can do that, if you're into the organic side of things, is use a good organic compost or a high quality potting medium. And I highly always recommend worm castings if you're going in the soil-based way, to put them around the roots, because that helps protect the roots from nematodes and different things that are going to attack the roots. And it also helps build up the health very quickly for that plant because it's a slow release, nutrient dense, and it's got a lot of microbes and the bacteria, different things in there already for the plant to start photosynthesizing and building this symbiosis with the sun, the soil, and the soil web. So yeah, I highly recommend that you look into worm castings if you're not worm farming already. Now I've got a course in the Worm Wranglers members area for worm farming and raising organic seedlings using the worm cast and the compost and different things, and showing you exactly how to grow a seedling in perfect health from step right through from A to Z. So yeah, that'll be in the join button down below and in the subscribe button, or in one of the links below my videos. I forgot to put it in this one, but yeah, it's below all my videos, or you'll see a join button there, and you can check out the video about that and check it out. It's really cheap, and it's a really good course to do. All right, so the next one is understanding plant nutrition. So this is number 3, my friends. Now I got to do this number 3 because people are going to scan this video, and when I put the 3 there, you go, what is he talking about? I got to stop. That's what they do. It's pretty funny. I find it entertaining. So yeah, number 3, and understanding plant nutrition, right? So we really need to understand what a plant requires so we give it optimum health. So each plant requires a bit of a different nutrition. Some of the leafy plants like lettuces and stuff need a little bit more nitrogen. Some will need, a different change of NPK. But a good balanced NPK is generally the way we go if we're just buying that one single fertilizer to add to our potting mixes, or something along those lines. So just be careful. Don't get the ones with excess nitrogen. They make your plants grow really fast, look really lush and everything like that. But what happens is the cell wall breaks down a little bit. You're not getting the rest of the minerals and everything through to build up the strength of the cell wall, which allows a pest to come along and just go pop and just drop his little mouth in there, his pincer or whatever, and start sucking on the sap, because the cell wall is it's less dense, it's got less strength, so it's much easier for them to get into the sap and start grabbing those sugars and stealing from the plant, right? And then it can pop that little pincer in, drop a disease or a virus or something in there as well, which can create sort of other problems. So we really want to build a nice, strong, healthy plant, giving it optimum nutrition as best we can, and understanding what the plant's needs and requirements are. Now, that's a huge thing to do, too much for this show at the moment, but I do have some other videos on the channel about not using nitrogen correctly and using potassium and things like that. So go and check them out if you haven't seen them already. Really, really helpful, and will help you get going. All right, so we are cranking along here, and we have our first super chat for the day. £1 and 79 cents from Always Worm Farm. Sold my first 20 kilos of worm cast this week. Now that deserves a double applause. First for the super chat. Hang on. Here it comes. Yay! There it comes. We'll start. I got them on pause, so I can just fire them off. Are you ready? For our first sale of 20 kilos of worm cast. 1, 2, 3, go. Congratulations. Well done. I'm sure there's going to be many more coming along the way. So yeah, really stoked for you. That's just brilliant. And Cecile Bailey, welcome to the show, and hopefully you'll pick up lots of value. If you're coming in late, we've done our first 3 top tips already, and yeah, you can always rewind back or go back to the the recording session of this and watch the beginning. All right, so the next one is cheap potting mixes and fertilizers. I sort of recommend you stay away from them. I think unless you really understand how to sort of build them up, make them better. I did go out and buy a whole lot of some cheap potting mix, and I've got all this other stuff, and I was going to do all these mixes and things, but I've been so busy just bagging compost and selling worm castings and worms and things. I haven't had time to film, and so that's another reason why we're here doing the live show today, just to let you know what's going on, and yeah, give you a bit of sort of some good content at the same time to help you guys in the garden and give you a bit of news and update what's going on in the show. I've got a special aeroponics grow tower coming from an Australian company. Turns up this week, and we're going to be putting mycorrhizae fungi and bacteria into a soil-free product. This is going to be unreal. They don't even know about it. It's going to be really cool. Still finding it a bit hard to accept, being a soils guy, of how that actually works, but it does. And yeah, looking forward to the results from that and showing you how these towers work. I'm just like super excited. It's the future of gardening in many ways. And it doesn't mean I'm moving away from soils. I'm still going to be using soils, but stepping into both mediums. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about it because a lot of the older people that don't have time to worm farm, retirees and things, they just want simple systems. They want food. They're sick of getting all the plastic off the shelves, on their food, and having food that's just not high quality. I believe I can really help solve a problem there. So with my gardening, it's always about solving problems and bringing as much fresh food to people as I can in small spaces and urban farms and things. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So keep an eye open for when it arrives, the unboxing. We're going to put it together and show you how these things work. And then I'll be doing like a rundown of it and give you a good, show you how they work. I'm interested in myself. All right, so the next one is, what are we up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're at cheap potting mixes and fertilizers. Stay away from them, guys, unless you understand, gardening really, really well and how to put things together. I just think it's a bit of a waste of time myself. But if you understand, you can buy some cheap potting mix and then you can put some worm cast and some compost with it. Throw a little bit of rock minerals in with it. If you've got them around, then you can make a really good potting mix quite cheaply. So that's how I do it. If you want to, make a potting mix out of nothing. But you do have to have that other stuff around. All right, next one. Plant positioning at number 6, I believe. Yep, number 6. I'm terrible at counting. So number 6, if anyone's scrolling on this video on the rewind, that's it. Stop right there. Number 6, we've got plant positioning, right? So plant positioning is really important because if a plant gets stressed, it's in a spot where it's too hot, it's too cold, plant gets stressed, it gets ill, it's going to get attacked by pests and disease. So we want to get it the best positioning that we can for our plant and provide the best medium for it, and obviously, give it enough water. If it's getting stressed by being underwatered or overwatered, again, pests and disease may come. So plant positioning is really important. I like pots because I can move them around. At the moment, the sun's sort of low, still winter, coming in, in spring now. And so I'm moving my tomatoes into the morning sun. Then I shift the pot out into the middle day sun. And then I'm doing it in the afternoon sun. And keeping it really, really healthy and photosynthesizing. And I'm getting these amazing little tomatoes at the moment. And I think once now the garden's starting to crank along, I probably need to do a what am I growing now video. That would be pretty cool. I think that would work. As long as we get the weather's good and it's not too crazy out there. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments box. I'd love to see that. And I've got my glass of water here, firing away. And let me know if you're getting good value out of this video and if you're learning something. We're going to have some Q&A coming up with it very shortly. And you can start talking about the way that you keep your pests under control. Maybe you've got some tips that you want to share in the members, not the members area, but in the chat box, and share with others. We've got 21 people watching, 9 thumbs up. Generally what we do is we go for the Yosemite Sam, if you're an older dude like me and you understand the cartoons. You've got the guns are flying from Bugs Bunny. We need to get the thumbs up, likes up. We normally go with how many viewers we've got watching to the number. Now, I'm always a little bit ahead of you guys, a few seconds. We've got 23 people watching, 9 thumbs up. We need to get to 23 thumbs up, guys. Come on, let's do it. Let's fire away. Play the game. If you're in on the game and you've been here before, you know all about it. And we got LP. Yes, would enjoy that kind of video. Man, I think I lost count how many different types of plants I got. And now that I'm setting up seedlings to grow some plants for the restaurant, so the second part of the micro farm's moving now forward. We've got the worms going out, which have been just sold locally, the compost, which occasionally sell castings. And I do actually sell like a type of basalt rock that people use for filters for their fish and also for growing succulents and stuff like that. And next is microgreens to one of the local restaurants. And if you live locally and you're watching the show, they're going down to Brewhaven. So if you're eating at microgreens at Brewhaven, you'll know that, yep, they're Marty's Garden microgreens. And yeah, let him know. He'll be stoked if you're there. And yeah, and then a few pot plants and things, slowly building that up as well. But that's something that we'll be talking about later on in the future. I do get quite a few people watch this show come down to buy compost, believe it or not. So it's just really awesome. So thanks, guys. Anyone that's been watching this now and then supporting me by coming and buying the compost and the worms and different things. I dig you. Unreal. You keep me alive. So yeah, I really truly appreciate it. Right, the next one is growing in season at number 7. Hang on, we got to do it. 5. Can he count? Yeah, yes, he can count. I'm an idiot now, aren't I? To 7. Those who are scrolling through the screen, you can see it's number 7. And there you go. It's growing in season. So this is really important. Now, I know a lot of you guys, including myself, we like to push outside of the season. I've just set up some lights a bit late this year. I've got some in the garage for starting up, tomatoes and chilies and different things. And it just got so warm this spring, I don't really need it. I thought we had a cold spring, I'd run them longer. I've turned the lights off and put them out in the sun now. But yeah, it helped for quite a bit. But that's a bit tricky to do. So I'd recommend more that you just grow in season. When you're growing in season, again, less stress on the plants, less problems with the plants, unless you're like pushing out on the edges and having a go, but understanding that there could be problems. Like I grow papaya here, red papaya. It's a bit too south for them. They get a lot of that sort of moldy stuff on them through the year, black sooty mold or whatever it's called. And yeah, they don't do too good. I'm thinking about maybe canning, unless I've got a hotter spot for them. So I'm pushing the edges. I've got avocados and Brazilian cherries. They seem to be okay. But the papaya, the red papaya is not doing so good. Unless you want to eat a lot of green papaya, then not so bad. I basically give them to my Thai friend up the road and they eat the green papaya. And we've got another vote for they would love to see the garden. So as soon as I can get that happening, I will. We're just waiting for the grow tower to turn up to get that sort of sorted. And I've still got orders going out the door. And I'm getting mussels on top. Karen, can you get the door, please? I'm getting mussels on top of my mussels because we've got someone at the front door, mate. I'm doing a live show. Sorry about that, guys. People coming to buy compost. And yeah, we'll just keep on rolling. So yeah, growing in season is really important.
I'm Sue at Marty. I was going to get some compost and some volcanic rock off Marty.
Oh, was that today, Sue? I had you booked down for tomorrow.
Today's Friday, isn't it?
Saturday.
But today's Friday, isn't it?
Today's Saturday.
No, it's not.
It's Friday.
It's Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got my days mixed up. All right, I'm sorry. I'm on a live show at the moment, Sue. Can you come back in about an hour?
Look, I'll leave it and might come down on Sunday.
Okay then. Sorry about that.
No, that's
I'm going to be in so much trouble. Got my days mixed up.
Got me right thinking it's Saturday.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh. That's so embarrassing. Live show. I've got my days totally mixed up this week.
Oh, look, it's Saturday, Dad.
Is it?
No, it's Friday.
Oh, now even my daughter's giving me a hard time. Anyway, let's keep going with the show. I've got the reason why I've got my days mixed up because I got called into work yesterday thinking that the day was Friday, and then I had to work on an extra shift, but it was a Thursday, so the night. So I've got my days right, but I'm wrong. So anyway, yeah, let's just keep rolling. And unfortunately, I couldn't serve that person because I got my days mixed up. So all right, let's keep moving. That's so embarrassing. Growing in season. So yeah, just keep them in season as best you can. If you're going to push out the edges, just understand that there could be problems. And right, so if we're going to have a bit of a laugh at that, I think we need to have a bit of a laugh. I don't have anything like any laughing parting noise. I've got and triangles, and DJ air horns. I don't have any laughing ones. So there we go. I'm still feeling a bit flushed after that because I've got my days wrong. Anyway, right, companion planting above the ground. We're going at number 8, guys. Companion planting. Now, companion planting is super awesome, right? And if I had my daughter, if she wasn't, she's not as helpful at the moment. I could get her to run out and grab one of those plants. But we'll see if she'll. Karen, are you busy at the moment? Are you busy? No answer. This is what happens when you got 14-year-old teenagers. I had it sitting right at the door. Oh, I'll just grab it, right? So hold on. I've got 2 marigolds to show you. Take me 1 second. It's Saturday. I'm sure it's Saturday. There we go. 2 marigolds. Now this one, these are just like a dwarf potted marigold. I can't remember what they call these ones, but all the marigolds are great for companion planting. So I've got 2 different ones to show you. I was going to make a video on that as well, but hey, why not just bring them into the live show? And this is one of my favorites. These grow much bigger than the dwarf varieties. They get a bigger root system. And these ones are called the African marigolds. Now you can see nice big roots coming out down below here. Compared to this one, there's no roots coming out down below here. And at the moment, we're talking above the ground companion planting, right? But we're going to be talking about below the ground next. Now, above the ground, what we're doing is we want to have lots of different flowers growing because the flowers will attract a lot of different insects. And then what that does is it actually brings in the carnivorous insects as well, hunting on the herbivorous insects and different ones that are after the pollen and stuff. That's the feeding system. So now we always need to have a balance of good and bad bugs, right? So the bugs are coming in to eat on a few little leaves, get on the flowers, like the big assassin bugs coming in, hunting, grabbing a few, you know, like different things are coming in and eating and stuff. There's got to be food around for them. So this helps attract the beneficial insects, not only to help with pollination and different things on the plants, but also to keep that good and bad bug balance. And these are great for attracting all different types of bees and insects. And they seem to have, because they're tall and got different heights and shapes and colors, they seem to sort of offset and make the other insects confused, right? The ones that aren't hunting them properly. And so great one to have around the garden. You can put them in rows or you can put sporadic around the place. Really good next to tomatoes, where you'll get eelworm coming to attack tomatoes and different things like that. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So we move into so I've got it written down here, number 9, companion planting below the ground. Right, so here we go. I'll just move them out of the way there. And yeah, we're moving through. Yeah, thumbs up for Marty. Please give us a thumbs up. You're getting lots of value out of this show. And yeah, we just like to keep the number up with how many we're watching. As soon as we had the lady turn up, about 5 people just bailed straight away like that. The hardcore have stayed to watch the show. So thank you very much for doing that. And so we're going to talk about number 9, companion planting below the ground. Now this is where things get really cool, and I'm going to mix it up with above and below the ground together because there's a couple of things that I missed. Now, firstly, with the above the ground stuff is plants, because they can't move and walk around right, they've developed this way of actually, through their scents and smells and things, of letting go these and releasing them into the air. They can actually let other insects know that they're under attack by a pest, right? And they will smell the scent and drive in, fly in, and oh yeah, I can smell that scent, I'm coming in, there must be like aphids on this plant. And in comes a lady beetle and lands and goes, oh, I'm going to eat. I could eat about 10 of these the size of me in a day. Num, 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 num. Then a few of them come in, and then you've cleaned up your pests problem in the garden, see? And so by keeping the beneficials around at the same time and the plant's healthy, they can release these pheromones into the air and let the insects know that there's a food fest around. Now, below the ground, when plants are healthy as well, they actually let out like it's been filmed, but it's like a clear substance that they put in front of their root system, and they're reaching out and looking for nutrients and looking for different things, and they put an antibody out the end of it as well. And now marigolds are very good at that, and it helps keep away different things that are going to attack roots, and it helps them search around through the system. So a healthy root system is really, really important. And so having a really good soil and a really good productive, potting container mix, things that roots can move through freely, will really help the plant succeed to stay healthy and strong and keep pests away. Now, another thing to do with companion planting is planting at all different levels, shapes and heights, and not so much following the monocrop rows, right? So we got to be careful not to plant like 10 tomatoes all in together, because if a hornworm jumps on one tomato, he goes, beautiful, there's heaps of babies, heaps of tomatoes around here, I'll have some more babies, and then they spread across. They can get from plant to plant much easier without having to worry about having things come and attack and predate on them. So what we want to do is, by putting things around like water cans, bird baths, spots where birds can land and feel safe up high and hunt, and we start building up around the area some little bushes and little trees, and sort of like start building it up slowly over time. We're building habitat for these good insects to live amongst the systems. We've got good and bad insects living, because you've got to have both, because otherwise there's no feed for the hunters, right, the carnivorous ones. And so as long as we don't get to overbalance of one to the other, then everything's pretty fine. And if you get like a really bad problem, what I do is, like, I had in my tomatoes, I had hornworm last year and I couldn't do anything about it. I pulled them out. I got rid of tomatoes that year, but everything else was successful. So generally I look at around about that 10% of loss. I did about 5% last year. And this garden out the back's a bit over 3 years old now. It's never even seen a spray of any type, even an organic spray. And because I've built that system where there's, where they can hunt and predate, there's spaces for all the insects to live. I've got a little beehive, native beehive out the back, and I plant the herbs for the flowers, and I'm not doing too much sort of monoculture sort of stuff. So think about that, of how you can bring in the native bees and all the different insects and things to provide habitat for them, and they will be your pest control for you. So it's a long-term project that you can slowly just do over time, and you'll find it will just improve. It'll improve over time, and you'll get much better results. Now we're going to move into number 10, and this is where a lot of people are going to be wondering about, and this is like in the group that we've got here in Facebook, Small Space Veggie Gardening Australia. They're always asking, what spray for this? What spray for that? What do I spray on these to kill this? What do I spray on this to do that? Well, in my opinion, sprays are only useful when we've got something that's out of control, and we've got like this massive, big problem. We need to solve it, because we know that it's not going to get as many lady beetles as we get in there to get those aphids, or the scale is not going to solve it. Because I've seen some fruit trees and some plants just so covered in scale that it wouldn't matter what you done. So, you might get something like a white oil pyrethrum and start spraying the plants and come back like once a week until that one tree is done and complete, and then start bringing it back to health and start feeding the roots and feeding the soil around, so the plant can then uptake and build its strength and vitality and vigor back again. Another way is pruning and removing some of that dead infested material and binning it or burning it. Don't throwing it in the compost system or under the ground to create this reoccurring problem. Another thing we do when we bring in plants from other places, if there's a little bit sick or something wrong with them, we pick them up at garage sale. There could be a grub or something down in the potting mix. You just don't know what you bring into the garden sometimes. I bought in different things, even like from Bunnings I bought in, I'm pretty sure it was like a type of blight, which they call tobacco virus. Ruined my whole year of nearly 2 years of gardening with tomatoes yet again. So we can bring things out, so we've got to be careful at times. All right, so let's get on to the more comments here. We get Marty a day early. I'm so embarrassed about that. I was even looking on the weather today, thinking it was Saturday. This is what happens when you just been going flat out I haven't had a time to blink on what time and whatever it is. So I feel really sorry for Sue, that woman. She was coming at 10 o'clock Friday, and I've had to send her away because I'm doing this show. It would have took me ages. She loves to chat and all that. So, oh, jeez, it's embarrassing. Anyway, we'll keep rolling on. I'd love to see a virtual tour of the whole garden, Marty. Yeah, we'll try and look at that. We get a few good days where it's not too windy and stuff, and I can get out there and film and show you around. So feel happy to fire away any questions that you may have. We're going to talk about spray control next for the number 10, as we've been discussing that as well, and looking at the different options. We've got things like neem oil. Remember, start sending your questions through, because it takes a little bit for them to turn up, and then we'll start firing away. And it could be any gardening questions whatsoever, even a worm farming question if you have it for me. Or you want to share something of a way that you control pests in your garden. Maybe you've got something like a little hack or something to do with bird bath, or something where, like a little shrub that you put in the corner where the little finches hang and run out, and maybe the little willy wagtails, or you bring the magpies in, and I've got a couple of magpies that walk around the backyard, and they just walk around and look under the tree and grab some stuff, and I encourage them to come into the yard, and maybe they'll grab a strawberry or a little cherry tomato sometimes, but that's fine. They're welcome to have those because they do a lot of good work. So yeah, bring nature into the garden, my friends. Now, spray control, as I said, infestation or large areas where there's a big problem, you need to possibly look at using that. And there are many different types. And the ones that I use mostly is just pretty much the pyrethrum white oil. I very rarely get problems here. I saw some aphids the other day on some lettuce, and they started up, and I just sprayed them off with a little water gun before they got under control. And so, yeah, it's a good way to do it. Arthur is here. I better go since it's late out there where I live right now. But have a great day. I'll see you soon. Thanks, Arthur, for coming. Appreciate it, mate. And you, take care and sleep well tonight. And thanks for coming. Right, so please fire away any questions that you may have. And it definitely is Friday here on the Mate's Garden Show. So you used to do these Saturday mornings, right? So, pretty funny. All right, so let's keep firing away, guys. And we will be talking about plant nutrition. I want to go back to that now, because I feel that's the most important thing when it comes to pest control, is just getting our plants as healthy as possible. And the healthier we get them, the more less they are to have problems with pests and disease. So I think that's, it's obviously the way to go. And we can actually use things like amendments such as worm castings. Liquid seaweed is a really good one. It's like a tonic for plants. So if your plants are missing certain minerals and things like that, it's a good idea to actually get those minerals into the systems, into the plants. We totally always talking about NPK, but there's lots of other minerals out there that plants need and require. They can live without them, but they really do much better when they have them around. You can get them in the liquid seaweed a lot, and also through, I've got another video that just come out in the last couple of weeks to do with rock minerals and using those. So if you haven't seen that, check that out too. And we've got a question here from our Wayne's Worm Farm. Q, for some reason my pear tree fruited a lot on one side and has started leaning badly. Do I need to stake it until the fruits are ripe? I would, yes. It could be that the light is on one side predominantly on the tree. And check if it's fruiting or more on that one side there. If it is so much, then you might need to sort of pull it back a little bit if you can without disturbing the tree too much, or start looking at pruning it in a way, or if it's in a pot, maybe reposition the tree. If it's not in a pot and you're still getting plenty of fruit on one side and it's in the ground, don't worry about it too much. But we want to sort of always have a pinnacle on the tree if we can. I know pears sort of grow out more like this, but we want to have a high point where the light can go down through. If there's sort of a lot of thick branches in the middle that's blocking a lot of light and taking a lot of the sap flow and stuff, take out the middle part and just try and get as much light around the tree as possible. The leaves falling over the fruits to protect the fruits from pests and things. So, yeah, hopefully I've added a bit more information to help you there with that. But, stake it up if you can, but try not to affect the root system too much. That can really hurt a tree, especially a young tree if it's still establishing. I'll just have a look at my list here. Something that I've sort of got that I maybe not gone too deep into. I think we've pretty much covered a fair lot of that, and so unfortunately, I feel a bit slack that I didn't get to do with this customer and that I was arguing with them. I thought they were coming yesterday. I should have messaged them, and it would have been all right now. But I got someone else coming in about an hour and to pick up some more stuff. So anyway, it is what it is. You make mistakes. No one's perfect, right? And we got 19 people watching, 18 thumbs up, and it's been a pretty good show so far. But I'm quite surprised that you guys don't have any questions related to pest control or something that I've talked about in this list. Like regarding habitat, bringing birds and insects into the garden, soils, using worm farms and different nutrients and things to get the garden more, improve the garden, different heights and shapes and sizes, flowers, herbs. There's so many things that we can sort of discuss. So feel free, don't feel shy to ask a question, because no question is regarded as stupid or silly or anything like that. And so let's just fire away there. Okay, Owain's Worm Farm. It's only a 6-year-old tree. Okay, well, that's getting up there now. It just depends on its position and also, how well it's sort of been growing over time. I would just keep feeding the soil. You've got some worm castings there and some worm farm things. So start, like putting some liquid around the bottom and building out its root system. If you come out a little bit wider with some mulch as well, the root system will come out a bit wider. Generally, it finishes at the drip line. So, that may bring and then you'll get more fruit. So, something to think about. All right, we've got a question here from LP Q&A. So, I made a lazy tea. Just added castings to water and stirred it once a day for 3 days. Then I dumped all over the broccoli plant to see what it would do to the caterpillars. Maybe helped. Can I eat soon? It's interesting that you say that. I don't know if, that type of tea helps so much with the caterpillars. The plant health, when the plant health gets up and like it's got its different tannins and things, and like in the plant leaf, it makes it sort of not tasty for the caterpillars and things like that. They're going for something with more of a super high nitrogen, trying to grow real quick and get a lot of sap flow. They'll go for more sort of for that. But it does actually help with spraying it on the leaves and things as well by building up the biology on the leaf. And a client of mine just recently, we did something like that on one of their fruit trees, and they got pretty good success in the pest problem by spraying on liquid worm cast, not made up with anything else other than just water and the worm cast onto the leaves, and got good results. So yeah, it does work in a lot of ways. So we've got another question here. This is a good one. The Happy Gardener. Deer are my biggest pest. Yeah, the only way to keep really deer away from things is fencing, or you got to have stuff up high, because I know they jump up, right? We've got them here just north of us, not where I am, but I've checked out fruit trees where they've jumped up and they're leaning up and they're grabbing parts of the tree, and that can be a real pain. So I think really there's only the other way really is anything to do with a mammal. If you put chili powder around, we'll get it up its nose a little bit or sniff it, and then they don't like that, and they get a bad memory of what's going on. Especially do it a couple of times and they won't come back. So, that can work possibly on deers. I know it works on kangaroos and possums and mice and things like that. So hopefully that may help a little bit if you don't have the chance of putting up anything like that. But you have to do it quite regularly, right? Because the water will dissipate it and all that stuff. I think even like the first time I did it, we used, I think we've used curry powder for sort of successfully, and also pepper as well. Anything sort of spicy like that. What edible flowers would you recommend for a small space? I really like nasturtiums. and also all the little herb flowers and things that grow like brassicas or rocket and broccoli and all those little ones. I really like those. And probably my all-time favourite would have to be, which has just started flowering again now, would be society garlic. It grows a great little pink little flower on it. You can eat the leaves of the society garlic like garlic chives. And the flower tastes just like garlic but no smell. And that's my all-time favourite. So hopefully there's a few there for you to help you. But nasturtium, it's pretty killer, right? That nasturtium, the flower, it's just got that peppery, beautiful flavour. And my father says he's got a silly question here from me today. Here's a silly question from you. No, who? How many legs does a Nigerian river fluke have? A Nigerian river fluke. Now, you just totally stumped me. I just do not know. If anyone else can answer that riddle, then please fire away. I'm sure my father would be quite entertained if we could get it. But, I just got no idea. Sorry, but maybe my brain will start processing it and I'll come up with something. But I really don't know what a Nigerian river fluke is. Is a fluke is like a fluke? Are we using the word fluke for that was a fluke? Don't know, but a good one. LP, sorry, bad grammar, I ran out of space. Is it possible the castings water run off the caterpillars? The plant next to it started getting attacked, and that one looks like it's getting better. Castings water ran off the caterpillars. The plant next to it started getting attacked. I'd say the plant next to it is just you know how we get certain plants, some just don't perform as well as others. That's why we put sometimes 2 or 3 seedlings in a pot and we choose the better plant, right? Well, it could just be that plant just isn't a successful plant, and sometimes we have to accept that that's the case and remove it and bin it or compost it if it doesn't have any disease and pests on it. So, if you can't get the health back into the plant, maybe that's what it may be. So it's just something that you need to observe over time, LP. So we've got questions still rolling in. Christy Williams, what about protection from the cloud spraying to stop us from our own food and seed germination? I don't really know about that, how we can sort of do that. That's a bit of a tricky one. There's, some people say that exists, some people say it doesn't. There's some proof that some areas that it does. I know that they've done seed clouding. They started in Thailand about 20 years ago. It was the king that started doing seed clouding for rain, and they made it rain up there. He was the first guy to do that, but they had to do it for food security. So I don't really know. I think there's other things that we need to worry about more than cloud spraying. Is just get the soil health to the best possible that you can, and the plants will go on, and just, like anything that we buy from stores and things like that. If you're worried about the chemicals and things on it, we've got to create a soapy water and wash that off. So I wish I could help you a bit more with that, but sorry, Christy, that's about the best answer that I can give. Alexander Carranza, I've noticed a lot of ants on my lemon tree and some leaves turning black. I've pruned the black leaves, but the ants are still coming. You would see predominantly that there is scale. So Google scale. It's a little half a ball shell sort of thing. And what they're doing is they're actually feeding on the sap, and then they drop a sugary substance for the ants to eat. They're farming the ants. They're very clever. And what happens is the ants then protect them from predators. And so they create their own little friendship to work together. So the ants are getting free food and the scale's getting protection. So what we try and do is look, where are the ants coming up? Can we put some type of collar around the tree to stop the ants from coming up? You can do that in many different ways. So look up some ant tree collars sort of into Google. You've got to be a bit careful, or there might be a branch touching a wall where there's a nest or something like that. You've got to look where the ants are coming up. But predominantly you can get in there if it's pretty bad, get in there some white oil pyrethrum, start spraying, and then that'll hammer some of the scale in there. And then the ants won't have the sooty mold to feed off, which is the black substance that you see on the trees. It happens a lot on lemon trees. That's really something that does happen. But I know there's different types of collars that you can put around to stop the ants from going up. Another thing is tansy herb. Ants don't like tansy herbs, so if you can ever get hold of that and plant it around the bottom of your fruit trees, that really helps as well. That's a companion sort of plant with that. So yeah, that's a couple of options there, Alexandra. So hopefully that's helped. Listen, guys, if anyone wants to leave a super chat, it's down the bottom of the chat box there. Any small donation really helps the channel and helps me stay alive here on YouTube. So I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Cheers from Melbourne. Thank you so much. LP, the happy gardener. Some people say to leave dog hair around the yard, or you can buy coyote urine. I don't have a deer in my yard, but I've heard this mentioned. Or you can kill a deer and leave it in the backyard for a while. I'll never come back then. They go, you're shooting us all. No, I just mean that. Is it 8, Mr. Ware? Oh, I don't know. Let's find out. It's a sort of worm, no legs. Gets into people's bloodstream through the skin, Marty. I was joking about the legs. What's that got to do with gardening, my father? But anyway, throw a bit of humour into the thing. But yeah, you had me there, mate. I just didn't know that there was a worm like that with no legs that gets into the bloodstream. I have heard of that, things like that being in different places where people surf in the rivers, freshwater rivers, and they have to wear these wetsuits and things and cover themselves up because the worm can get into their system if they go swimming. But anyway, they're getting off point again. LP, is it was a day or two later, almost like the lazy tea scarred the worms onto the plant. I didn't dump it on. It was like a day or two later, almost like the lazy tea scared the worms onto the plant. I didn't dump it on. I'll keep watching, but it wouldn't be that cool. Cabbage moth are the worst. I know. Let's not get into that conversation about cabbage moth. They lay their eggs at night. A lot of people don't know that. They think they're solving these problems. They're checking out through the day. They sneak in at night time and drop their eggs. So if you got cabbage moth problem, just don't grow what they like, and they'll head off to the neighbour's place. That's what I do. Very well. I thought it may have been a river, like a liver fluke, not a river. Yeah, well, there you go. Well, Dad already gave us the answer. So, yeah, could be farming aphids also. Yep. You always got to check if there's ants around and there's lots of things going on. Could be problems. Yeah, they just like to do that. Here we go. Arthur Thomas Ware, through the skin, no fun. Guess they use our legs instead. Whoa, you've really thrown a spanner in the works there, my father. Don't grease your trees, it's death sentence. Yes, so be careful not to grease your trees. Cold climate tropical fruits, he grows lots of fruit trees. He's the man for that one. So maybe you can come up with a collar for us, mate. Neil, I think your name is, from memory. Neil, can you let us know what a good collar is to put around the bottom of the fruit trees to stop the ants from going up? Any remedies for blight, Marty? Not really. There's so many different types of blight out there. It's a really tricky one. Blight's got a lot to do with plant health or bringing the viruses in. So I wish I knew. I just don't know. I've never had to deal with blight too much, other than the tobacco virus and a few other things that sort of get onto cucumbers and stuff like that. And I just use like a bit of milk with water in it and stuff. But yeah, so I'm not really a blights man. Alexander Carenza, thumbs up. If anyone's got any remedies for blight, please leave it here, because this is what we do on this show. Is I don't know the answer, someone else just might, and we've got a pretty good crew in here that are always happy to share what they've got. LP, I don't think the neighbours would like a deer in the yard. Yes, especially not a dead deer in the yard. I'd like to shoot and leave in the backyard idea. Well, they do that with, like, the reason I said that is because there's, like, some of the old dudes that you said, like, scarecrows and stuff and things, and they would have problems that would never stop. So they would just shoot a crow and just hang it up there, and the crows wouldn't come back. So that's where the sort of that come from. But I'm not into killing anything. I try, I'm a bit of, I'm not a vegetarian or anything like that. I still eat all my meats and things, but like if I have rabbits, I couldn't actually kill the rabbit to eat it. I couldn't even farm fish and eat the fish sort of thing. So I'd have bit of trouble sort of doing that, and like in that regards. But I have had problems with brush turkeys, and that one time up the north coast, and I would like just knocking off hundreds of dollars a week of my crops. And I tell you what, I wanted to put a couple of bullets in those ones. I was losing a lot of money, and they were like ferocious. Had to net everything off. Really bad pests. They're like a giant chicken that just comes through, and they're smarter than a chicken. And they were just a couple of feet and just rip out a whole plant out of the ground. Never seen anything like those things. And yeah, here we go. We've got an answer from I just dust a tight ring around the base of the tree. Okay, so a dust of can you let us know what you dust around the bottom of the tree? That would be really helpful. All right, so it's been a pretty good show so far, and we get some great questions coming in, and I think I'm really helping and being able to answer like 99% of them, so that's pretty cool. The ant dust I use gets broken down by the microbiology in the soil. Okay, so some ant dust. Okay, cool. If that works, then that's probably the way to go. I've never done that before, so I get to learn something today as well. So thank you very much for that. Really, really appreciate it. I've had really good results with planting tansy around the bottom of fruit trees. And actually, like, tansy is really good for, like, lots of different insects and things like that. And even if you've got, like, dogs that have got, like, bad flea problems in their dog house or underneath the house or wherever, you just throw the tansy in. And, mate, I tell you what, the fleas hate it. They just gone. Like, you've never seen anything like it. I'm trying to remember the bottle at the moment. Can't remember the name. Okay, but an ant dust. If you remember, just whack it down there for us. That would be really handy. So I believe we've actually covered quite a lot today, and I think we've passed out some really good information to help you guys. Now, just to sort of why we've got some other questions coming through, just remember, we want to just build really good habitat. We just want to have the healthiest plant that we can by feeding the soils. Think about feeding the soils. We're doing soil-driven plants. If you're moving into hydroponics, you want to have good white, sort of like grow on good white medium so you can actually see if there's any pests, and you pull the leaves back on the white plastic, and then you can sort of have a good look around, because that's a whole different ball game when we're talking away from soils. So, but, you know, if we are doing a hydroponic system around, we can still have this habitat around the garden, right? So still bringing these good insects and everything to live and predate around the garden, and not having so much of a sterile area. So, because hydroponics is more about having everything really sterile, but it doesn't mean that around the outside we've got our little fruit trees, our herbs, different things growing, and different shrubs for little birds and stuff, that we can still do that as well. So keep that in mind if you're doing some hydroponics. You don't need to have it all sterile around the outside. Question: is there a reason why seasonal changes bring on pests? Yes, very much so. A lot of annuals and things, they're starting to die off. They're getting ready to seed. They're not producing the sap flow and things. They're getting ready to produce the seed to pass on their little bubbers into the next generation. So they're happy that something comes along and eats them near the end there. They don't mind. They've done what they needed to do. So, and also certain plants that might be growing sort of like on the borderline of, maybe they're like, it's a tropical plant but we're growing in temperate, and it's getting cooler. It's not photosynthesizing as much. It's not taking up, getting the sap flow that it needs. Say, like, it's not getting the magnesium and the iron up into the leaves. So it's getting a bit of a yellowing in the leaves and things. Then you get more susceptible to some pests and viruses and disease and stuff. So, you know, that's generally what happens in the edge of the season. It's to do with the plant not being able to uptake the nutrition and the photosynthesize as well. The soils are getting colder and things. So hopefully that helps with that question. I'll just read the rest out. I have an influx of gnats, whiteflies and aphids. Thought I had healthy plants and good solid, but I'm getting smashed. I think it could be a good chance that it could be like I was saying at the end there, the end of the season, the annuals are starting to die off. If they're not annuals and they're perennials and things, you may need to look at building up the health. There could be an excess nitrogen problem, which could make plants look really healthy, but it just means that they don't have that super strong cell wall. So if you've been coming in and you've missed a lot of the tips and things like that, check out the rerun, go right through them. There's a lot of valuable tips in here, the top 10 of them, to help you grow amazing, healthy pest-free plants and to build a productive place where you don't have to keep using it all the time and you can move away from it. So hopefully, AJ, that helped you with your question there. Happy Gardener. Some of the farmers here will shoot a coyote that gets after their sheep and leave it and hang it as a warning for other coyotes. So there you go. It's the same deal. That works. And I agree. I know sheep farmers who have donkeys to protect their sheep. Yeah, I heard donkeys are pretty good at protecting. That's another good one. I guess we're moving away from the sort of vegetable garden a bit there, but yeah, I heard donkeys are pretty good like that, and hey, why not? And I've heard that they do a lot of other things too that are pretty funny. And yeah, I don't mind the odd donkey. If I had the space like that, I'd probably have a donkey at my place. But I think you've got to have 2 donkeys. I think they get a bit lonely when they're on their own. So I hear. And Michael from O'Donnell's Aussie Homestead, he'd be the man to ask about that, about the donkeys. Here we go. They don't want to, yeah. Oh, they're funny things. We've had a couple of horses in our backyard over the years, and I'm a bit scared of horses because they used to chase me when I was younger. They were a bit vicious, the horses in our backyard when I was a kid. But anyway, some news coming up for you guys. We've got in the near future, what have we got? We've got the air tower coming up, the air garden coming up, and a whole lot of different pods and things. So we're going to be planning it out, setting it up, getting it out of the box, and then sort of showing you how those things work. We've got the powder that's got the mycorrhizae fungi on it and all the different bacteria, and then adding that to the system to grow the bigger roots. We're going to be sort of looking at some of the plants, things, some growing in soil, some growing in hydroponics, some growing in worm castings. I think I've forgot how much time I've got because we're extending out the micro farm and what the people are interested in. We might head in that direction or do some micro farming videos sort of showing you what's going on here sort of behind the scenes. So it's going to be pretty interesting, but definitely the grow tower is coming up. It's turning up shortly, and I'm really looking forward to showing you because we can actually grow, because now, like as I was saying before, I'm predominantly a soils guy, but understanding that we can actually get mycorrhizae fungi and soil bacteria onto these root zones, and it's actually floating in air, these roots. I'm really, really amazed that can do that. And it's almost like we're bringing sort of organics into the systems, but it's not organic. It's still sort of all playing with my head, and I know that we've got to test it and trial it and run it, because we can grow, as a micro farmer, I can grow 10 times as much per square meter on one of those systems to get out to people, for the restaurants and things like that. And I can actually grow. I think I can farm when they bring out a bigger unit. We're talking about I'm going to be possibly the horticulturist for this brand, and we're looking at probably bringing out a bigger unit that will actually be for farming, and that'll be very interesting, and seeing how I think that might go up to 10 feet tall or something. And then even in like the winter time, some lights that go around them, so we can bring these things inside, have them near the kitchen and stuff like that, for cooler climates and off season and stuff, so we can still grow our herbs and leafy greens right through the winter time. And I think that's really cool, and I'm pretty excited about sort of working on this new product. So I'll keep you in line about how that's going up. We've got a question here. Are you growing peppers this year? Yeah, I've got a yellow one, some yellows. I've got some jalapenos, some long red cayennes, and I think a couple of others. I had like these markers on them, and it said permanent marker when I was spraying it this morning. My little hand sprayer started running, and I'm like, oh man, they said permanent marker. Now I've lost what they are, so I'll know that they're chilies, and when they grow the little chili, then I'll have to wait. So next time I'm going to be definitely checking and not buying those cheap permanent markers. That's just really stuffed me up. But anyway, we'll know once they come up. So I've got about 3 or 4 different varieties, and I'm going to be selling some. So some are actually going to be bred on for the grow tower systems. They're working on that because we can actually grow peppers and chilies and things out of these units, these aeroponic units, and also have some smaller tomatoes. So they're like bush tomatoes, different things that only grow like a metre tall or whatever. They can go around the base of them, and we can still get lots of tomatoes on them. And and sort of a lot of trialing things. Some black strawberries I've got. They're really dark red strawberry, a pink strawberry. Hopefully these are going to come up, and then a butterfly strawberry. So we'll see, and we'll see how they go. Don't forget some super chats, friends. Yeah, thank you very much. I won't. I appreciate your one. Thank you very much. Cold climate tropical fruits. Permaculturist is the contents of the dust I use, sold as ant wasp dust by Bayer. Okay, well, thanks so much for sharing that, guys. The dust around the bottom of your fruit trees for the ants. The biology eats it all up. So good stuff, apparently. And we're going to go here. Have you tried shishitos? They're awesome. No, I haven't. I don't even actually, I sort of clicks on me what it is, but I just can't remember what they are. So please let me know a little bit more about that, shishitos. They're must be a type of pepper. I haven't predominantly really been someone who grows a lot of peppers. I've always grown jalapenos, or the long reds. I don't like too spicy, just make sauces out of them and things. But moving into the micro farming yet again, I'm looking at these different plants and different ones that see, like a lot of people that are farming, they're growing these urban plants that produce big crops and big yields, but they're not always the tastiest, right? I'm looking at sort of something that mightn't produce as big a yield, but is way tastier, and I can charge more for the crop. That's what I've always done on the micro farm systems. And then try and choose a few plants that are producing more and start doing some breeding of those plants and try and then, feed the plant a bit better and get some, like some really good high-end quality produce like the black and red cherry tomatoes and the yellow cherry tomatoes with black stripes on them. And now I'm looking at different coloured chilies. I think that would be really cool, and the different colour strawberries. So, a bit of fun going on here. At the same time, and if you're looking for those black strawberries, I bought mine off eBay, but I think they're just starting to come up now. I'm not real sure how good the quality of the seed is, but I guess we'll know. So no more questions, guys. No one's got any more questions. So we're looking at, it's 10:38. We've been on here since 9:30, so we've been firing for an hour and 6 minutes. So we will start saying goodbye to everyone now. I'm going to have to apologise to Sue for getting my day wrong, but, I'm running a live show and she's arguing for me through the door. It's not a really good look, so I'm sorry about that, guys. Totally 100% my fault. And I'm still a bit embarrassed, so I'm going to have to message her and say sorry. So we just got LP. They're a sweet pepper, 1 in 10, could be hot. They'd be really popular, tasty, and super prolific little plants. I highly recommend them. Okay, shishitos. I will keep that in mind. And can I send you some pineberry and strawberry runners? Yes, please. That would be very good. Message me later and I'll give you my address, please, Neil. That'd be awesome. Yeah, love that. Thank you so much. And please, guys, start saying goodbye to everyone inside the channel here, on here. And like I said, normally Saturdays I'm here when I do the sporadic live shows. Friday is a bit of a one-off because I just, I've just messed up the week, been going hard. And I'm sort of glad it's Friday, actually, because it gives me another day to get on top of things. And, I've got someone coming in about 10 minutes to pick up another 8 bags of compost. So, awesome stuff. And who knows, I might even go surfing after that. And you're welcome, AJ, and pine berries are lovely. Let's get some music across here. The favourite song. Thanks, Barry. Awesome.
The sun is warm, there's a gentle breeze. All the birds are making homes inside the evergreens. The air is clear, with our loved ones close. You can pick out every star without a telescope. So beautiful to see how we have changed. In time, everything we've lost comes on again, and I will grab onto your arm sing along. Let's stay the same as the children grow, and teach them all the simple things we thought we used to know. So beautiful to see how we have changed. In time, you know, everything we've lost comes home again, and I will grab onto your arms a little stronger than we were before.
There you go. Zip up.
In a day, we're all brand new, and it's love that we're fighting for. I'm proud, you know.
Thank you everyone so much for coming to the show. As I said, I'm normally here sporadically Saturdays. Crazy days ahead, and I've been lacking a bit of sleep. I'm still going through that sort of issue with the sleep apnea and things like that too, using the machine and this mouth guard and things. So yeah, I'm not as switched on as I'd like to be, but I'm doing the very best I can here behind the scenes, as well as working hard to pay the bills and to keep the shows out to you guys. And I'll let you know when the tower comes out, and then we'll organise a tour of the garden as well. You all have a happy day. Have a wonderful, safe time. Keep on smiling. Be grateful for everything we have. We've got a beautiful spring coming on, and wherever you are in the world, God bless you all. Have a great day. Happy gardening, and bye for now. Hang on, I'll do the whoosh. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. See you later.